Hi, I'm Shravan. This is Hear Me Out, and I hope you enjoy the analysis. Okay, so let's get started with the analysis. RCB versus DC in Chinnaswamy Stadium today, 10th April. So this is how I think RCB is going to line up. There'll be no changes. RCB has been doing very well. They've won three out of their four games, and they look to be in good form. They won their previous game against Mumbai, and the conditions are quite similar in Chinnaswamy Stadium. And because there's no real injuries, I expect RCB to continue with the same lineup. Um, DC, Faf du Plessis was unavailable in the previous game, so Samir Rizvi filled in for him. I think Faf du Plessis will take back his role as an opener. Um, Otherwise, there's not going to be much of a change, even with DC. And these conditions do seem to suit most of the players, so don't expect any major change from them unless there is a last minute unavailability. Let's go on to the stats. At Chinnaswamy Stadium, the average first inning score is 194, and the average second inning score is 196. Average winning score is 211. So these stats were taken off the last eight games. So there's no real advantage to batting first or batting second. But given that it's a 200 plus pitch, batting first would allow the team to have a little bit more of a pressure that they can, a freedom in batting first, and then they can obviously put the pressure back onto the team batting second. And both teams have spinners like Karunal Pandya and Akshar Patel who can really put a stop to the innings, reduce the run rate a little bit, and get the pressure going a little bit more. Matches won batting first and batting second are the same in the last eight games. And that just reiterates the fact that there's no real advantage conditions wise to batting first or batting second. Let's go on to the actual statistics. Over the last eight games, there have been 19 wickets in the power play. The power play favors the seamers a lot. There's going to be a lot of seam movement in the first six overs, and the ball's going to be swinging all over the place. We'll get back to how the team needs to bat in the power play in order to get through that phase. The middle overs are really where your spinners are going to come into use. Most teams have had success playing two spinners through the middle overs, usually who get introduced in the seventh or eighth over and carry on till the 14th over. As you can see, there's 12 wickets to spinners in the middle overs, obviously 15 wickets to pace bowlers. This is a pace-friendly pitch in Bangalore because of the altitude. But here we can see that spin is a very crucial win factor. We'll come back to it in the second phase of the innings analysis. But spin will be very crucial in those middle overs and how well the spinners bowl. In the death, you will see a lot of wickets. Typically, from the death we're considering is the 14th to the 20th or 15th to the 20th over. So you see a lot of wickets falling. Typically, the captains don't really expose their spinners. The kind of spinners that did get those three wickets were Sunil Narayan, Glenn Maxwell, and there was an odd wicket of Suya Sharma also picking up one in the death. But otherwise, there's no real help for the spinners apart from that middle phase. Um, then let's go on to the phase analysis. So the first eight overs of the innings is the setting phase. It's really where you get a little bit of momentum, but you want to keep wickets in hand. There's going to be a lot of swing going. There's going to be a lot of seam movement, especially looking at the two teams. So if either team is batting first, suppose if RCB is batting first, Mitchell Stark and Mukesh Kumar are going to have a lot of seam movement, especially Mitchell Stark. You can expect him to be bowling three overs in that 1 to 8 phase, and he's going to be looking to pick up wickets. I expect Akshar Patel to bowl an over in the power play, the fifth or sixth over. He'd done it before with decent success last time DC were in Bangalore, but expect Akshar Patel to at least be introduced in this phase. He's very capable of picking up a wicket. Obviously, when we look at the wickets that were picked up in the power play, the three wickets, one of them was from Maxwell, and the other was from Manimaran Siddharth, who had picked up Virat Kohli in the RCB LSG game last year. Both players are slightly taller and hit the deck hard like Akshar Patel. So while for RCB, I don't think they will bring the spinners into the power play. It doesn't make much sense. Yeah, Krunal Pandya can do the same job as Akshar Patel, maybe not as well, but he's in form. But given that RCB have three genuine wicket-taking bowlers in Josh Hazlewood, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Yash Dayal, the first eight overs, DC have to be very careful not to lose a lot of wickets, but also to maintain the run rate at around eight. Um, so that's the first phase. So for RCB, the main batters will be Virat Kohli, Phil Salt, and Devdutt Padikkal. Phil Salt will be the one who's trying to gain the momentum to keep the runs coming, and expect Virat Kohli and Devdutt Padikkal to play a slower innings. I think it's unfair to criticize Kohli and Padikkal's strike rate because of the conditions, the nature of the pitch. I think it's required for them to to get a slower start, and that will really benefit the RCB as the innings goes on. And as we uncover the second and third phase, you'll understand why. For DC, I think Fraser McGurk will do a very similar job to Salt, except I think McGurk's entire MO is to go hard from the beginning. So when and KL Rahul will look to stabilize the innings. I think Faf du Plessis will open with Fraser McGurk, and I would give a slight edge to DC in terms of batting. That top three slightly looks better, but it's barely an edge, and it's quite frankly nullified with RCB's power play bowling because Hazelwood and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar are really going to get a lot of help on this pitch, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up 2 wickets in the power play. 2 wickets in the first phase. So on to the second phase. The second phase is from overs 9 to 12. This is the phase where you gain a little bit of momentum, but you really set yourself up for the last 8 overs. So you might think, okay, Bangalore is a 200 pitch, and this score takes you only to 100 for two. But I'll explain why. So typically, from my analysis, I've seen that overs 8 to 12. I've included 8 in the first phase because there were not too many wickets, but 8 to 12 is really where a lot of teams start to lose wickets because the power play has gone a little bit slowly. They want to try and accelerate. There's a lot of wickets that go to spin. So this phase, the team that wins this phase will be the team that negotiate the spin bowlers the best. 36 for one in 4 overs is not going to be difficult. It's not going to be difficult, but it will involve playing proper cricketing shots and not going too aggressive because this is still a phase where there will be some amount of support for the bowlers. The ball is not completely old yet. After the 12th over, my observations are that there is barely any support for the bowlers. So this phase is really where you set yourself up to hit big in the last 8 overs. So for RCB, the main batters are going to be Virat Kohli, Rajat Patidar, and Devdutt Padikkal. But let's be very honest, this is Rajat Patidar's phase. He's going to be the most crucial batsman for RCB. How does he negotiate Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel? And if RCB lose Rajat Patidar's wicket, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, especially if Virat Kohli is also out. DC, on the other hand, I think KL Rahul and Duplessis will try and continue into the 9 to 12 phase, and Abhishek Porel will also be introduced. He's a batsman who can bat at both gears. He can negotiate the pace and spin. So he's going to be a very crucial player here. I think the longer that Abhishek Porel stays, the better for DC in this phase. If Abhishek Paral does get out, expect Akshar Patel to come out and bat to carry them into that 13th to 14th over before their big hitters can come. So I think batting wise, I would give RCB a slight edge here. But bowling wise, because DC have Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel, they're going to have a better edge in this phase. So where the RCB batting innings, which team plays better in that 4 overs is really going to be crucial in determining who might win this game. So the third phase is the 13 to 20 over mark. This is the big hitting phase. So if you look at it, RCB's entire team is built around this specific kind of division into 3 phases. This is why I think RCB have picked Jitesh Sharma, Liam Livingston, and Tim David all together in the auction, which initially I didn't think was the right move, but now having analyzed the last couple of games that RCB have played, I think it's a brilliant call from the management. So in this phase, you're going to want to keep as many wickets in hand as possible. That's why we said that the first 12 overs you should be 100 for two, so that in the next 8 overs you can get 100 for four. In this phase, there's typically wickets do fall, but it's going to get much easier to score runs because there's not going to be a lot of support off the surface and off the ball because the seam starts to flatten, and that really doesn't give a lot for either pace bowlers or spin bowlers. So you can and the ground itself is small. The altitude makes the air thin, so it's easier to hit. So it's going to be very easy to get that 100 runs in 8 overs. Obviously, 100 is a lot of runs, but where those teams make up. So obviously, we were looking at the average winning score in Chinnaswamy Stadium is 211. So this analysis has taken them to an average second inning score about 196 to 200, which is a pass score. So that 11 runs that any team has to make up, it has to be partially has to be made up in this phase because the consequence of trying to go early and losing a wicket in the first or the second phase is very grave because if you don't give yourself enough room to hit big in these last few overs, you're really going to have a problem. We saw that with RCB in the first game against GT this season in Chinnaswamy Stadium, where they lost a lot of wickets early. They lost 3 wickets in the power play, another 2 in the middle overs in the second phase, and they came here 5 down. And while they were able to accelerate, while the runs did come by, it reduced their score significantly. It reduced their score. They were only able to get 170, which, given that pitch, was about 25-30 runs below par. So here for RCB, Patidar, Jitesh Sharma, Liam Livingston, Tim David, it's pretty obvious who's going to come out and bat. And also Krunal Pandya is there as a backup, but I don't really see him being used for more than maybe 5 to 6 balls. These three are quite experienced. They've played a lot of the IPL, and batting wise, they look very, very solid. Jitesh Sharma has been batting decently. Tim David got a couple of shots off. Liam Livingston, I am a little bit unsure of. I'm not fully convinced. Yes, he scored a 50 against Gujarat Titans, but it wasn't a very convincing now. DC, on the other hand, they have Tristan Stubbs, Abhishek Porel, Faf du Plessis. If he continues in his innings, then maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but you can also have Ashutosh Sharma, who I forgot to put here, and Vipraj Nigam. So when you have Tristan Stubbs, Ashutosh, and Vipraj Nigam are going to be the main three hitters. When you compare it to RCB, it's not as great. But Ashutosh has been informed. Tristan Stubbs is coming back, but he's very much capable of playing a big innings. But I do feel like DC is a little bit lacking for the third phase. So when we look at the RCB bowlers for the third phase, expect Yash Dayal to be bowling 2 to 3 overs, Bhuvneshwar Kumar to be bowling 2 overs, and then Hazelwood for one. Maybe Krunal Pandya comes in for an over or two, but I don't really see him bowling more than that in this last phase. Given that there's not going to be a lot of support for the spinners, especially once the ball starts to get soft. So if there is a second new ball that RCB takes, if they do get an opportunity for that, then definitely Krunal Pandya is back into the game, because we saw what he could do with it in the Mumbai Indians match. The DC bowlers, Mohit Sharma, very, very experienced. Expect him to take 1 or 2 wickets at least in this phase. He'll be bowling 3 overs at least. Mitchell Stark will pitch in with an over. Mukesh Kumar will pitch in with 2 overs. So bowling wise, I think DC are looking very, very good. I think the bowlers, the death bowling, I think is sort of similar with a slight edge to DC. But again, RCB's batting is looking much better than DC's batting. So I think the crucial innings here is going to be RCB batting and DC bowling. Which team comes out on top is really going to determine who wins the game in this phase. Unless obviously the game is already won in the first two phases. So now that we're really done with the analysis, I would say it's a slight edge to RCB. I think it's 51-49 in my opinion. DC are looking in really good form, but DC are looking in really good form. They've obviously not lost yet, so they're going to come into this with momentum. They've had time to rest, and RCB has had an away game and they've come back. Obviously, there's been quite a bit of resting time, but DC have had a longer period. It's going to be a very close match, I feel. I'll be watching in the stadium. So that was the analysis. This is my first match analysis video, so take it with a pinch of salt. I am a cricket enthusiast, someone who's not played a lot of cricket, but who's watched a lot of cricket. This analysis is mostly from stats and conditions. What I said could definitely be overturned during the match. Anything can happen during the match. But feel free to put down your comments, like, share, and subscribe. It really helps. And yeah, thank you.